We've learned our technology lessons.
Technology. Hello, everybody. If you're tuning in, I know you're going to slowly but surely tune in. We're going to get started here in 2 minutes. Just giving you all a second to gather and give you a nice image of our two guests tonight that will be speaking about Holey Moley with us on We're Gonna Need a Bigger Windmill. Hopefully everybody out there is playing lots of mini golf and wearing a mask so we can hopefully put this pandemic a little bit more in our rear view, because it could be a long winter. Because you have all four of us tonight live in places where there's a real winters.
True statement.
You betcha. Are any of you guys fans of glow golf?
Yeah. Of glow golf? Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm really not. I don't want to have to do that the whole winter.
Well, yeah. I mean, if it's the only option, yes. But
that's true.
Yeah, the glow in the dark mini golf. Yeah. See, look at us. You just like get us waiting here, and we're gonna start talking about mini golf. So it's bound to happen, but. We're giving people a couple minutes to get in. I see a few eyeballs on the screen. Let's just bring our lovely mugs into view. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 8, although we've had some half episodes. So it's, I think, episode 10 of We're Gonna Need a Bigger Windmill. It's what happens when mini golf fanatics are looking to stay connected with each other during a pandemic and want to talk mini golf, and we set up a talk show to recap Holey Moley and to talk about other things. My name is Mr. T, Tom Loftus. I'm from A Couple of Putts. We do mini golf reviews, we do design and consultation, and we just really love the game of mini golf. And to this side is my co-host.
And I'm Pat Sheridan, co-founder of The Putting Penguin, which is also a mini golf course review site. It's been around now our 20th season, so we've been kicking around for a while. I also am a professional mini golfer, playing in many tournaments, both in the U.S. and I actually have my shirt from Sweden, where I played last summer for Team USA. So repping the international piece there. And I do a lot for the World Mini Golf Sport Federation and the journalism side of things. So that's how I'm connected to our wonderful game, besides both of us obviously being Holey Moley contestants in season 1.
Exactly, and Pat covered that, and we have throughout the season been bringing on guests to recap the episodes and talk about their experiences. Some played the course, some haven't, and we have 2 people that actually have played the course this year and have played against each other, and I'm going to let them introduce each other and start with Marni.
Wait, am I supposed to introduce him?
No, you're introducing yourself.
Yes, I am Marni Van Grau, aka Miss Crispy Bacon, and I am from Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and I have no mini golf things to attach after my name. I am just a lover of the game, and I'll call myself the manager of AJ's Mini Golf, which is just a pop-up event that we do annually at our own home here in Pennsylvania.
Nice.
And our second guest?
Yes, I am Erik Gustafson. They called me the king of mini golf on the show, so that's what I was affectionately known as. From Lincoln, Nebraska, and I own a miniature golf course, so have loved the sport growing up, and now being in an ownership position, I love being around it every day as my job.
Fantastic. Well, we're excited to have you both on, and we're going to learn more about your mini golf stories and your background and what you love about the game. But what we're here to do first is to recap the 8th episode of Holey Moley, the sequel. And the episode is Under Par, however you're supposed to pronounce that, in a pirate sounding way. And I am going to, we're going to jump right into round 1, and let me let me throw it over to my co-host Pat to talk about Kasha and Bella.
All right, so we started the episode with the pirate theme on Putt the Plank. So again, recapping the whole very quickly. Most of it boils down to John Lovitz badly chipping balls over with either one or two eyes blocked. And today we had two competitors, a very international episode, as we had two ladies of Polish descent facing off against each other. And Bella, who is an aerospace engineer, and Kasha, who is a touring pro. Very good one too, apparently. So they played it off. Actually, surprisingly, Mr. Lovitz gave them both incredibly good chips. I mean, the chips actually weren't that good, but the bounces from the chips were excellent. And so they both were sitting, I don't know, probably about 4-foot putts, very similar putts. And then, the whole premise of the physical challenge is literally jumping on the shark and riding it around and trying to get off. And Bella tried to go over, but as you can see, didn't quite stick the landing there. A little bit difficult feet first position to go for that particular challenge. Fell in the water, stroke penalty, looked freezing like all of our contestants always do when they fall in the water, which I'm sure we'll have some discussion on later with our guests. And then Kasha made a really good, actually almost similar jump, but she really nailed it off that dorsal fin, got over, was super pumped, and just just nailed the putt. There was no way she was missing that putt with their energy that came up. And that was a pretty quick, easy way to start. Not a ton of drama, but it really set Kasha up for the rest of the episode. I think the funniest part of that whole for me was Rob Riggle's insistence that they were both spies, given their particular line of work and being international, which the more I thought of it, and then being a Jason Statham movie, like I kind of want somebody to write the screenplay now, because I would absolutely watch a spy movie based on, professional miniature golfers coming over to America and infiltrating us for, I don't know, something other than COVID, I guess. So that's our first hole of episode 8 was Putt the Plank.
Okay, and we're on to our second hole of the episode, and I'm going to throw it over to Marni to recap.
Yes, so let's see. We had, it was Renee and Brienne on Uranus. Of course, jokes just kept flying on that one like normal. You'd think it would get old after a while, but they just keep going with it. So, I guess that one is what it is. I actually found it very humorous when Rob Riggle did the little mini interview with Steph Curry about, is this too subtle of a joke for a hole named Uranus and all of that. But anyway, back to the players. So, Renee was the Zen influenced, whatever. She really made me think of, I can't remember his name from last season, but the guy that did the accidental tap. I just felt like they must have been related or something. The two of them just seemed like they came from the same world or something. And then Brienne, who just seemed like an average, mom kind of person. I felt like I identified a lot with her when she went up and putted. So we had Brienne, who got it into that channel and got very, very close to the hole-in-one, but just right on the outside there. The entertainment for this hole, though, was definitely them crossing across the planets, because I think both Rob and Joe agreed that neither of them were really standing much of a chance. I think Rob's exact words were, she wasn't making it past Earth. So didn't have a lot of confidence in Renee, although at least Brienne made it across one of them. But poor Renee, she just barely got a foot on that first ball and was in the water. So they were both sitting with the stroke penalty, but as we saw, Renee ended up in the sand and just didn't have it to even get it out of there. So Brienne took that one pretty easily.
That gets us to our third match of the night, and it's my turn, and we are heading over to the diving range, the hole where you dive for score to get yourself to the second part of the hole where you actually get to putt. And Joey Cipoletti from Chicago is back again, try to attempt to make a decent dive against two other competitors. We have Kirsten and Noor. Kirsten is a cat lady from, I think, Florida, if I remember correctly, and was really fun, had a lot of energy. And we have Noor, who is from Austin, Texas, and he loves hot dogs. And was really excited about being on the golfing show. I know he has a big golfing background, and I believe he works in Vegas too. So he had a lot of energy, and those two stepped up to the diving range, and both of them did crazy backflips and kind of landed them. I'd be terrified to do this hole in public. I would definitely go the route of Noor. You see Kirsten on the diving board with like a one-piece swimsuit. Noor went with like the shirt and his cowboy hat, which is even more impressive, I think. And just is like, I'm not bearing it all. And they both did their dives. Kirsten got a pretty good score, but somehow Noor got a 10.5. I didn't know that was possible. But I can't remember if that was Luganis or Gutenberg, but they both got some great scores. And then Joey stepped up again and was a total bum and landed a pretty pedestrian dive, and Steve Gutenberg got really mad and threw a shoe at him. So welcome to Holey Moley and Diving Range. This hole has been an absolute blast to watch all season. I'd love to see the putting a little bit more because when we went over the putting where they have to go up the little slope and around the swimming lanes, Noor, I thought, almost got a hole in one, and it's weird. They cut it off right before the ball stopped, but he was probably 2 feet out, and Kirsten had to two putt just to get over to it. Noor hits it in, which I think was the 2. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before. There's like a little bit of movie magic going on in a lot of places, but we have no doubt that Noor won this match and brought tons of energy, jumped into the crowd, and advanced with a ton of energy into our second round that I'm going to turn over to Pat to talk about.
Oh, we're not in the second round.
We're not second round. Our last match of the first round to Pat.
Which brings up another excellent punny hole, Buns and Wieners. An interesting combination here. We had Lawrence, who is our actor model. Haven't seen a whole lot of those this season. They were very prevalent on season 1, but seemed like a pretty chill guy. Loved his pizza pants. Had the Hakuna Matata motto going, which is always a good thing. And he was up against Lee, an Englishman. And if our buddy Steve Levant is watching or will watch this replay, this guy kind of reminds me of him. He's a little bit shorter. Steve's a couple inches taller, but love the Brit suit he had going on. Both these guys had a pretty good energy on it. Apparently Lee is a stuntman, MMA fighter, a ton of crazy things on his resume that Riggle may or may not have believed totally. I was all in on it because, at least he was selling a good story one way or another. And then there was the putting. So Lawrence actually had a pretty favorable putt over the channel and got a good bounce between the forks. And we talked about this, I think, the first time this was shown, how difficult that looked like it was just from a normal putting and the angle, and the fork tongs don't look to be that wide. And then Lee kind of had the opposite, got pinged on them, and then both of them, so it was pretty much a shootout, except for the fact that poor Lawrence did not go over, and Riggle didn't point out that he probably should have died in the fire because he was pretty good on that episodes ago. But apparently the pizza pants saved him, and Lee, as you could see, very craftfully went over as any stuntman would. There had the advantage. They both went kind of back and forth. This is definitely, and I think Tess mentioned it, definitely the hardest putting green, I think, of any of the holes. Plateaued, so you can very easily go up and over. I guess quite similar to a hole you may find on any type of mini golf course. And they did go up and over and went back and forth, and then Lee did the smart thing. Well, I think it was smart. I don't know if it was intentional, but kind of a little layup for the tap in. And he was our fourth person, moving on now to round number 2.
round 2, and we're going to be lining up a hole that our guest is quite familiar with. We're going to have Erik talk with us about Dragon's Breath.
Yes, and this is probably a first on your show. I actually wasn't able to watch the episode yet, so I'm sorry.
Shock.
I'm just gonna have to confess, I'm not gonna try to beat around the bush, but
Turn in that plaid jacket.
yeah, it actually just came in a couple days ago. So yeah, I might need to pass the baton off to somebody else for the review of this episode.
I'll take it for the assist. So we
Thank
had Bree, the housewife from Kansas City, and Kasia, the professional golfer from Poland, advanced to Dragon's Breath. And if you would have watched the episode last night, you'll notice in between them, there's someone holding a sign that might look familiar to Erik. I screenshot that one for you.
Oh, I do have a story for that. We can talk about it later if you'd like.
Absolutely. So Kasia went first. It took 2 putts to get through, but got through and got a little crispy. And we had Brienne follow up, and it took her 3 putts to get over. So they're both sitting over to the left of the cup, behind the 2 hills, next to the sword. And Kasia gets up and hits a wild putt to win it over the 2 mounds. That was this like super impressive, like easily the kind of spoiling a thing we'll be talking about later in the episode, but easily the shot of the episode and one of the best of the season. Those humps are no joke on that hole. And Kasia, all the fire, all the flames, advances to the final of the episode, and then I could throw it over to Pat here to discuss. Oh, there's Kasia with her win, and then I can throw it over to Pat here for our second hole of round 2.
Personal favorite, the distractor, and the hole that did me in season 1. So what we had this time, a very enjoyable pairing of Noor and Lee. And then as you can see, the distraction this time around were Can Girls, which is a pretty solid distraction. Remind me a couple of weeks ago where they had Thunder Down Under, kind of the opposite side of that in terms of distracting here. So Noor and Lee completely played into it. A lot of good laughter and energy from just everybody there. Noor, again, think it was his first putt, but I can definitely attest to movie magic on that particular hole and how that goes. But whatever it was, the putt was solid, went in, and Lee had to go up and match it. And unfortunately, even though he was putting it for the queen, missed it to the right, and importantly, did not miss it short, hit it long, which I actually think Tess actually talked about he shouldn't do if he's leave it short if he's talking about for the queen. And it was absolutely my mindset playing this hole. Don't leave it short on national television. So it was actually pretty quick gameplay, but it was a pretty fun hole to watch. Noor, again, just bringing the energy the entire time after winning, jumping into line dancing, had a little choreography from Course Marshal Joe, who actually had a lot of screen time this episode, given the holes he was in. I'd like to see that. Always good for some humor, good guy there. And that set up our finals on one of our favorite holes between Kasia and Noor.
And Marni,
right? Yep.
Yeah, Marni has a little bit of familiarity with this hole, Double Dutch Courage.
Indeed, I do. Been there, done that. And let me just say this. Had I known removing the shoes was even an option, I for sure would have been doing that. So hats off to Noor there for, I don't know, thinking ahead, or maybe just those boots were really expensive. I'm not sure, but I was super, super impressed with his initial move there with taking off the boots. But yeah, I mean, both of them got it across just fine. I mean, his bounce off the back and just rolling around the side of that cup. I mean, it was almost painful to watch because it was just so close. But you never know what that slope and that bounce is going to do for you. But he was sitting pretty there when Kasha hit hers across, kind of same thing, hit that back, but bounced a lot further back. But this hole was about the two of them actually making it through those windmills and the way that they both approached it. So first we have Noor actually taking off the boots and then using the green as a runway. I think Rob described it. He's just bouncing along and just goes in there, tucks the shoulder, and miraculously makes it through. I will tell you this. I was sitting in the hair and wardrobe tent when this hole was being played, and I caught it just on the side of a screen. And I mean, I did a double take because I could not believe that this guy actually made it through the windmill. So he was happy. He was doing a lot of talking. I don't know if you all noticed that too, but he's a yapper. He talks a lot. So he's talking the whole time, makes it through the second one, no problem. And then Kasha, I mean, she is just intense. I mean, she is 100% intense. Erik, I don't know if you had a lot of interaction with her or not, but every time I saw her
for sure, yeah,
in the tent, like she is just serious 24/7.
Yeah.
She's just, yeah. So she was going for it. That she had the $250,000 on her mind every second. And you could tell the way she played, the way she attacked every obstacle, like she wasn't joking around. So, but they had a great, up and down there. They both missed it, I guess, there on the first. Yeah, they both missed long, rolled back up, came back down. And then Noor just got it on that for 3. Again, probably movie magic. I don't know, but they might have both had solid 3s on that, or he had a solid 3 on that one.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't show, both of them jumped in the water at the end, but they didn't show that.
Yeah.
Yep, because that was the final hole. They showed that, I think, in one of like the little clips or one of the commercials that they do for the show, where it's like the beginning of both of your episode to start the season. They do that sort of hype reel to begin the season where it's like 2 minutes, dramatic music.
Exactly.
Like choo, 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 like all these wild things happening. And I swear Noor jumping in the water. And then I was like watching for him to do it. And then it just cuts to the animated Steph Curry giving him the jacket and the putter. And it's like, okay. There's all like, I mean, they make a great show, but it's like one of those things where you're there. It's like, oh, okay, that's what you kept. I would have kept. I mean,
I would have put that in. Yeah. And Kasha actually jumped first. Jumped first, and he jumped second. So, go figure.
That's so brave, Marni. We know the temperature. That is a brave move.
It's just foolish, Erik, is what it is. They knew too, based on everybody else. They knew how cold it was, and they still did it. So.
I do it again in a heartbeat.
Last episode, we were talking about strategies for going through the windmill. Because Marni, you had more kind of a forward dive, and a lot of people have been trying to do that. And Tom and I both played the original Double Dutch that didn't get aired in the first. And this was the strategy we were talking about, like that stand up, just kind of like get through it and just take it, almost like they said, like a running back or something.
Yeah.
Like that. He's built for that too. He's got that size.
Right.
So it was kind of funny. I'm watching. I'm like, oh, we just talked about that, and he ended up doing it. It was a great move. Although I thought when he did that run to it, I was like, man, if he's just gonna go run headlong into this is gonna be hilarious.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he had an hilarious story too about it. I don't know, Erik, did you hear this or not? But he told some story about when he was little, he would watch this ceiling fan as a baby. Like he literally connected watching the fan blades when he was an infant or something to being able to calculate when to go through this windmill. So crazy. You guys might have to reach out to him on that one.
Yeah, maybe we'll do some, like, because the platform we're using, we get up to 10 people. Maybe we'll just do like a Brady Bunch style thing for every episode. And that actually would work with 8 people per episode. And then the 2 of us, we could do that on YouTube. Just have everybody tell like a quick tidbit. But yeah, it was a good episode. We're gonna talk a little bit more of it and do our lining up the episode with Marni and Erik. Although I think probably more Marni than Erik.
I'm so embarrassed.
I love it. I mean, you're the king. Like you
got a lot to do, Erik. You got a lot to do.
You're running a mini.
we just bought a snow cone truck, and so we're trying to get that set up and get the permits going. And that's an excuse. It's a scapegoat, but it's what I got.
You know what? If your excuse is a snow cone truck, that is the best excuse ever. Like
I love it. I love it.
I love thinking about like eating some snow cones right now. So kudos to you. But yeah, let's jump into it. So the part of the reason we did this too is to talk to people that are on the show, where you only get like a little tidbit of who they are. And with both of you, we had recognized on social media and just from the episode that you had these unique mini golf stories, and you competed against each other. One of the rare episodes where there were two competitors facing off in the final of the episode that had a real mini golf story. So we know that Erik's got now snow cones and got a chance to brag about that. So let's start with Marni and tell us about so the thing that they talked about in the episode was your unique putting style, and you want to just describe that?
I assume you're referring to the scorecard.
I am. I've never seen that before.
And it's not anything that was ever planned. I think it's just one of those things that happened as a mom, as a person who always sort of is taking care of everybody else. I'm always the one carrying the stuff. I'm always the one keeping score. And so it just never seemed right to ever put it away. And the more I played, the more it just became a natural part to just hold it. I mean, just hold it. Why not? So I did ask them before the show went on. I said, is this too weird of a thing? Like, can I actually bring a scorecard and use that? And, of course they're like, yeah, we'll check into it, but I don't see why it'd be a problem. So yeah, I guess that's a little unusual, unconventional, but yeah, it served me well for the most part.
And you played mini golf pretty often, right?
Yeah. I'm not a professional by any stretch of the imagination. I would never claim to be, but I've played enough to be dangerous in my own little world. And but now I'm venturing out. This is actually very exciting because I feel like this whole thing might be a little platform to get me into, like I'm meeting all these guys from O Street Mini Golf and all these places that do different organized things, and we just don't have a lot of that around here at all, from what I can tell. So it's exciting.
2021 Center Valley, Pennsylvania, Putt U, the U.S. Open.
Okay, there you go.
There you go, our neck of the woods.
And for as much as me and my wife have been doing our mini golf endeavor for years, we never played really in tournaments and competitively or any of that really until we started meeting people from that world at Holey Moley, like Pat, and like Robin and Randy, and we're like, it's not just a bunch of like older gentlemen who've been playing for like 50 years that have like ridiculous scores, which is a huge part of the Masters. There's guys that have been playing for 50 years that have scores in like the high teens and low 20s where you're like, well, that's not me. Like a hole in one still feels like a nice thing. So yeah, I'm glad that it's really been nice that there's been a lot of people in the mini golf world where the show has been like an odd connective tissue for it. And then Erik, you have an obvious mini golf story that you've touched on a little bit, but so tell us the name of your mini golf course and how it came to be that you own one.
Oh, two great questions. Actually, the first one, the name of the course is Adventure Golf Center. And we get a lot of different versions of that on the phone. Is this Adventureland Golf? Is this the putt place? And putt bothers me. It's not putt, it's miniature golf. So we obtained the course. I was an education major with zero business background. And we were actually, me and my business partner, Dylan, who is the one holding the Erik sign. We were doing some small game hunting, and we'd never done that before. And it was kind of on someone else's property, so not the wisest thing to do. But anyways, conversation built after that, what we're going to do after college. And he said, you want to start a mini golf course? And I was like, sure. And they were like 2% serious, and now we're 100. So it's been a wild adventure. Neither of us have business backgrounds, but we love miniature golf. And I'm sure you all can attest to the fact that it's fun for a 3-year-old and a 103-year-old. And it's great to bring people together to experience joy. And that's kind of the mission of our golf course. And especially in a time like this, it's something you can do outdoors, socially distant and safe. And there's just something good for the soul in being outside and being with people and doing something fun. And mini golf brings all those together. So deeply passionate about what I do. And yeah, that's our course.
It's awesome. I think Tom and I could both attest in the hundreds of courses we've played. The absolute best are the ones that the owners feel the way about golf that you do. Like just so many. I'm talking about Putt You, the guy who owns that, Randy Block. I mean, same, just absolute passion for the game. Loves his staff, the people who come out, just has made friends in the community, and I mean, that just elevates, even the simplest of mini golf courses to the place that people like us tell other people to go to. So if I ever get to the Midwest and get to Nebraska, I'll absolutely come and visit.
Please do.
One of that swath of the country is currently a little bit light on our particular website right now.
It's even a little light with us yet. I think Robin and I are due to get to Nebraska to do like a little bit of a road trip when everything clears up, because we definitely want to play your course. And then there's 3 in Omaha that sound super interesting, but they're all indoors. There's a dinosaur themed one that, like, the videos I've seen are pretty wild.
Reaction.
Thoughts.
Oh, I can give you thoughts. That's for sure. I feel a bit out of place to do so because they just planted one in Lincoln, so it's technically my rival business. But yeah, they are indoor courses. They are very novelty. I don't want to say that with a completely negative connotation, but it's a lot about the theme and not as much about the mini golf sport. And so, I mean, the courses are pretty close together, so that's not as conducive during this time, but I think it's still an experience you may enjoy. I'm a bit partial to say mine is better, but I'm not gonna dog on my competitors too much.
That's totally fair. You should love what you do. If you're out there and you're like, oh, my competitors do it better than me, that's like a bummer. They're just like not doing anything about it. Like, my course is okay. You should really check out the one down the street. They're super fun.
Right? That's one of the things that's nice about mini golf is that you can have those different lanes and appeal to different people. I mean, we have played, obviously I played very competitive courses that are awesome, but then I've played the indoor bar courses that are just a different atmosphere for a different reason that you're going there. And, hopefully those two things can, in a way, you'd hope that you can work together and you kind of raise both of you to because you're not, while you are competitors, it's not that same exact experience that you're selling.
Yeah. And prior to that, we were one course basically in a town of 250,000. So there's definitely, well, I'm not going to say there's a market to grow more because we like having it few, but we've been pretty fortunate to have the market that we do.
That's awesome. And Marni, so the other reason, the scorecard was like a neat idiosyncrasy, but what I found really intriguing was that you do an annual course yourself where you build a course with your family. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. And I kind of like what Erik said, because I feel like what we strive to do is a nice combination of novelty as well as actual challenging miniature golf, because we have everybody from, little 2-year-olds showing up who parents are so glad they don't have to go dish out, $20, $30 to play when they're not sure that their kid's even going to make it through, 2 or 3 holes. And then we have people that bring their grandparents with them and play. So it literally was the brainchild of my oldest son 5 years ago. It literally started with a windmill. This is what's hilarious about it is he had one of those red box toolkits. Have you guys seen these things? The little wooden things that you put together, sort of like what you'd get at a Home Depot, like workshop or something, but they sell these red toolkits. He got a windmill, he put it together. And before we knew it, he was taking bricks and rocks and whatever and making these little miniature golf things in our yard. And I said, buddy, you might be onto something there. And it was going on around the time that, 5 years ago, I think it was when there were horrendous floods in Louisiana. And, at the time he was an 8-year-old. How do you explain, compassion and helping people and what can I do, that whole thing. And we just kind of put it all together and said, well, buddy, what if we do this thing you're doing? Let's put this together, see how many holes we can get, charge a nominal fee, give all the proceeds to wherever you want to give it and go from there. And the first year we probably had, 150, 200 people come out just in the span of a weekend. And it's just grown every year. We started with 9 holes. The first year was just 9 holes. And last year was our first year up to actual 18. Every year we change the theme. So it makes it a little more challenging on our end. So we've had a course theme totally after books, movies, different states, the United States. And this year what are we doing this year? I totally just blanked. It's all in my garage. No, games. So in honor of the Olympics being canceled, we're calling it Let the Games Begin. But every hole is a different video game, board game, carnival game. Think of games, and we're doing it. Trying to anyway.
Awesome. Is it just for a weekend at your place?
It's literally just a weekend. We do like our Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're open like 12 to 8, and the people come. It's crazy.
It's funny you mentioned the Home Depot boxes because last year they did a mini golf hole as one of the Home Depot.
Did they really?
Yeah, my kids are 2 and 4, so we started doing it last year. And sometime last summer they had a little mini golf hole that you could build with a little putter and ball.
Nice. Yeah. Well, yeah, ours started with a windmill, so it's kind of ironic given my experience on Holey Moley. Full circle.
Well, I was going to say that's a great setup to also talk about. We were thinking about having both of you on. The other thing that's really intriguing is that both of your paths through the episode are insane. You had probably the most challenging, like just dramatic routes to like the end of the episode together, where you get electrocuted every putt you missed. I mean, that's pretty wild. Do you? I'll let Erik start, but like, just tell us a little bit about some of those experiences and what that was like. I mean, what were sort of your impressions going into what you might be doing, and then how was it facing what you faced?
Yeah. So maybe just to preface, as a kid, I took gymnastics, and then the primary of my sports career was in diving, actually. And so when I saw the first episode and that guy did a decent dive and they scored him poorly, I was so ticked off because the people there that are always talking about fairness. It's got to be fair. Like they go to so many lengths to do that. And then this guy does a dive that's obviously better than the other ones. Oh my gosh, it boiled my skin so much. Anyways, that being said,
but you get it though, I assume.
Yes, I get it now. But going into the first episode, seeing that, that was brutal. But going in, I was hoping for maybe some more agile holes. And so with the Dragon's Breath and the Franken putt, more about the fire. And honestly, when I first got up there, my major concern, I trusted them that the fire was gonna not burn me, and so my main concern was this big marshmallow puff ball with these huge fireman gloves. Like, in my head, I'm like, gosh, please, I want to be able to test my skills and not my luck. And obviously miniature golf is a combination of both, but that was a wild experience. It was certainly hot, and you saw, as I'm sure you've seen in other people, smoke getting into the people's masks. That wasn't supposed to happen. And there was like a brief moment of panic, like, I can't get this mask off, and there's smoke coming in here. It's probably not the best combo. Bad things are going to happen, but they end up getting it off okay. But man, I saw my competitor Jack. His face mask was fogging up. And so from that moment on, I was intentionally trying to breathe in a way that would not fog up my mask. So
Wow.
yeah.
And Marni, you had a few bumps along the way to getting to the finals too. Tell us about those.
Well, all I have to say is I think all of us that had to do 2 water holes should have been rewarded with something. I'm sorry, but if you put somebody on 2 water holes, you deserve something because you're getting wet on at least one of them. So I felt like maybe did I have like a bullseye on my head or something? I felt like they picked me out and said, let's drown her. Let's just put her in the water and let's do it again. And I don't know.
That electrocute you.
And then electrocute me. Oh my goodness. Some of my friends were so worried. They're like, but wait, were you still wet? And I'm like, guys, movie magic here. Movie magic. No, I was not wet when I got electrocuted. But yeah, I really would have wished for less water. Just overall, I don't hate water, but I mean, we've all talked about it enough. It's ridiculously cold. I think for me, the combination of the temperature and the water in shoes, like I never practiced that. Maybe I should have practiced that ahead of time, was like swimming with my shoes on, because that feeling of just being like pulled down, especially on Volcano, because you had to swim farther in that one. Like there's a little rowboat over here to the side, but you don't really know where you're going when you come up out of that water. You're disoriented, and the shock of the temperature just is doing weird stuff to your body. And then somebody's just like waving to you, like swim this way. I'm like, I don't know. So I don't know. I mean, yeah, definitely would have wished for less water, but I think I did okay given the circumstances. I really would have wished, again, this is my point to vent. I will say about the diving hole, Erik, as well, would have really liked that hot tub, because I did not think that was fair that they got a hot tub for going in the water, but none of the rest of us that went in the water got a hot tub.
Did you see the hot tub by the porta potties? They put it back over there?
No, they did not.
They sure did.
You had the option?
I did not have the option no, I just didn't have the option.
You just didn't.
I was notorious in there for going to the bathroom about every 10 minutes, but I don't have any regrets.
Yeah. I remember that. I played you.
I know that feeling so well. I got yelled at by a PA where they're like, it was like getting ready to play my second match at Slip and Putt, and they were literally getting ready to mic me up, and I'm like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and literally just like jumped off to one of those like trailers, and Jordan, one of the PAs, just like literally standing outside of it, being like, you can't do that. It's like yes. I know you have like liability things, and then on the whole way back, I like, well, it might fall. Like, are you gonna like fall in front of me? Like, I don't know. The PAs have a good sense of humor, so I wanted to mess. But yeah, like the nerves. Like, yeah, I had to go to the bathroom like every like 5 seconds. That, and I was drinking like tons of tea because it needed the caffeine to be sort of like ready to be on camera at 1, 2 in the morning. Because most of yours, the way the show works behind the scenes for some people is that you're either shooting probably in the first half of the night between 9 and midnight, or the second half of the night between midnight and 4. Were most of your holes on the first half or the second half?
Mine were second.
I had pretty much split. I think there was only one time where I went early, and the rest of them were ridiculously late.
Yes.
Yeah. So people watching, if you need to practice, you need to jump in the water with all of your clothes, know how it is to putt with water sloshing around in your shoes, and do it super late at night when it's cold outside in cold water.
Yeah.
And you'll be set.
Yeah, exactly.
While you're at it, if you want to play the slip and putt experience.
And if you're from the East Coast, you have to add in the time loss there. So I don't know. Are you in Eastern time zone?
I am.
So it was like filming from 9 to 4 felt like 12 to 7 or something.
Yeah, the less I thought about the time, the better I did. Like I purposely wouldn't check. Like once we got there, I purposely didn't really look at my phone at all to check time, because I knew, okay, they're just calling people when they're calling people. You just go when they tell you to go, and the time is going to be what it is. You're going to be here for a long, long time.
Yep. Eventually the sun will come up and then you'll leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And we sort of touched on it a little bit, but what are so I'm assuming you've watched at least one or two other episodes. You've seen most of the holes at this point. If you had to pick one other, maybe more for the putting, given that both of you have the putting background, what would be the hole that you'd want to play the most?
Double Dutch Courage.
Really?
I'm serious. Yeah, I think
Wow.
it adds a there is skill to it. It seems like a fairly straight shot. I've obviously never done it before, but I think also on at least a mini golf course in Omaha, which is about an hour away from here, they have those holes that are up on the slant. I don't know if you've been to courses that are more common like that. It's a difficult shot.
It is.
And it doesn't allow for a nice layup. It's usually none of them are gimmies. So I think that, and also just jumping through a windmill seemed like a ton of fun. Well, you can speak differently to that since you experienced it, but yeah.
Well, I probably would have said that hole before I played it and before I knew about the added blade and the faster speed and the drawbridge thing. Like last year, I literally mocked people on the show because I'm like, how can they not get through this? I'm like, I ran back and forth through this thing in my head. How can these people get knocked into the tulips all the time? So when they told me I was playing Double Dutch Courage, I'm like, Double Dutch, I'm thinking like jump rope. What could they possibly have done to make it different? And then you walk up and you see it and you know right away what they did to make it different. So yeah, that one was not on my list once I actually saw it. I think for me, I honestly would have picked Go For It. I like the combination of the novelty, the fun little popping up gophers, but it's a unique hole that you really have. You have a couple options on how to play it, but it's not easy. It's not a straight shot. You have a little bit of that angle, and I've not seen anybody do it great yet, but we also haven't seen it that many times. So I don't know, but I think that one would have been a fun one to play.
Yeah, those little popping up gophers, and then I don't know if there's sound effects like that always just such a perfect combination on the show. That would have been one on my list as well. We sort of do that every episode, talk about the holes. I think for all of us that we'd want to play all of them again. I'm assuming that if you were both given a chance, that in a heartbeat you'd play that course again, even if it meant getting wet, I assume, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Maybe this is asking too much for Erik, but because it seems really unclear when, and this happened last year, when episodes are airing. Do you know when the season finale episode is airing, and or is it split into two, or is it just one episode?
Yeah, so they are, I believe it's just going to be one episode, and we have a group chat with all the episode winners, and a lot of them are better at getting intel than I am. And I'm going to be careful about saying things that I'm allowed to say and not saying things I can't say. But I think it was because my episode aired again, I think over the 4th of July weekend. And then also I think there's a rerun next week. So I think production, I believe a lot of it is in Australia, so there's a lot of communication back and forth, and I think with that comes I don't know, I think they're on the fly sometimes. I don't know, but I think the finale will be in one episode, and I've told people sometime in August is when it will be.
Well, we're looking forward to it, and I love the season that there is that buildup, even though it's going to be a little bit of a wait, that there's a reason to watch throughout the whole season, because you're kind of seeing who's winning and seeing who you think's going to win. In fact, Pat's been doing that, and we'll get to that in a second. And I have noticed in that there's been a hole popping up and slowly but surely in the episodes when they're doing some of the flyovers, that it's those some pyramids? Wonder what that could be.
Pretty blatant in this episode. I was like, ooh, I saw that.
Yeah.
which I'm glad they're finally like teeing that up. But yeah, I'm excited that there will be a return episode of all the winners, because it would have been interesting last year to take all of those 10 winners to see who really like rounded it out and won the whole thing and got all the money. So I'm assuming you did, and thank you for your sponsorship of this program and all the money that you won.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I tell people in town, just keep track of the car I drive. If it changes, you can make some purchases. But back to the thing you were saying, I will note that the advertisements and the promos that they've shown, if you pay attention to those, there's really not a surprise episode. They show a lot of the peak footage of episodes, and I know they actually took down a promo that was a bit too revealing earlier on, and I won't speak to that, but we've been pretty surprised at the content that they've chosen to use as promotional.
Sure.
We had that same feeling last year. Our friend Robin Ventura, who was the mini golf queen, we all knew how obviously she had went out because she went out and teed off. But she was like in the first trailer that shows her falling in that. It's like anybody who knew any of the premise, it's like, okay, you lost. Like if you get dumped, you lost. So it's like, well, she didn't win. You can't like really tease with your friends. So for as much as like I didn't get to make any of the trailers, it's like, well, it was like a total surprise for people seeing things like what happened. And I noticed even last week for the Bachelor one, I forgot to mention this, that the first thing that they showed was Alexandra and Andrew in front of Dutch Courage next to each other.
Right.
Well, it's like, well, so now you just told me what's happening. So it is funny that there's this like, don't tell anybody what's happened. But by the way, in this trailer, there's a hole where it hasn't been shown yet that's likely in the finale episode that they show people on it, so you know who's already in it.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I do have one other question for Erik.
Yes.
So obviously you played up the Swedish heritage thing and a beautiful shirt that you have on tonight.
Thank you.
Were you aware of how much like Sweden in the competitive mini golf world is like top tier country competitively going into this, or had any like acknowledgement of that? Because when I saw it, I was just like, oh my god, that's perfect, because some of the best players in the world when it comes to mini golf are Swedish. And a lot of my friends from there, and I was just like, oh, and I don't know how many people realize that, or if you even did.
Yeah. I've actually looked into going to play the mini golf masters. I guess I'm not a professional golfer, but we thought about traveling as a Myrtle Beach still, right?
Yep.
So yeah, we looked at registering our course as a tour course and all that fun stuff. So I have looked into it. It seems like European miniature golf is more like a concrete based golf. Is that correct?
Yeah, so there's multiple types. They do play, so the one they play the World Adventure Golf Masters on, which is one of the two world competitors, is the regular turf that we know. The rest have concrete and like sheet metal is the other one.
Yeah. And so I had seen, I knew Sweden was pretty good. I wasn't super aware though. I think you obviously would have a lot more knowledge than I would, but I would be curious to know a little bit more because my knowledge is pretty limited.
Yeah, if you ever go over there, once this is all done, definitely hit me up. I could put you in touch with a lot of people who are course owners over there. Beautiful.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, that would be a dream.
I went in last summer with Team USA. We went to Kungälv, and that's where the World Adventure Golf Masters was. And so home course is for Swedish team, and then they basically swept the team medals and the male competitions. Although our friend Robin Ventura from Holey Moley was the ladies gold medalist. So
all right,
cool.
There, and the team, they won the mixed team. So her and our friend Nate won too. So a couple of USA medals coming there. But yeah, if you definitely hit me up, I can put you in touch with a lot of them. And they play a lot. They actually have their own Swedish Adventure Golf Masters, which is like our Masters.
Okay.
Hold every summer too. So great people. And I just, like I said, when it came up, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like I'm sure they probably didn't even realize that, although there are USPMGA people involved involved with the production,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe they worked that out. But maybe a tease
Yeah.
for more international styles in the future.
Yeah, well, if you show me the grace to let me back on the show after having not seen the episode we're reviewing, then that would be a great contact.
No, absolutely. You're both part of the Holey Moley alumni. It's a very small group of about 200 people, so it's a small family. We're very forgiving. And speaking of Holey Moley alums, I have a comment from Aaron, who's been watching, who was talking about having a rematch with Marni at the U.S. Open when it's in Center Valley, PA. And then I think this one was targeted at Erik. It was last season Holey Moley winner Mick Cullen, where he said, yes, it would have been nice but to have played for 250, but he said he wishes that each episode winner would have gotten some cash too, which is pretty wild that last year that they really divided it out so much. And that this year it's like, that's it. One hole, one winner, and everybody else is sort of like got a wild experience and a lot of sleepless nights.
Yeah. I did find it interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, usually like ABC primetime reality TV show, like for the first season, $25,000 isn't something like as eye popping as what typically is. Would you agree with that? Like if somebody was playing Deal or No Deal, like $25,000 would be kind of a loss, I suppose.
So they put all the money on the set,
right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's part of it. Like I was watching, I was rewatching the episode, and Hulu like jumps to an episode. I think it was, what's the one with the whammy?
Yes. Press your luck.
Press your luck. And
no
like,
whammies.
And the winner of the winner of the episode was like 80,000. It's like, whoa. And then like I watched that show Don't, that's now following Holey Moley with Adam Scott, where they're like doing all sorts of crazy stuff, and you're watching these families go through it. It's like, wait, they just won $100,000 in this episode? Like, come on. Like they didn't even have to like make like a pressure putt at like 4 a.m. after being soaking wet. Like that's not totally fair. But yeah, it is a little odd. But I'm at least hoping that the second season, with a little bit more stakes being added into it, that it keeps it going. I'm a little nervous about them with the show, like longevity, just because I'm sure they lost a lot of money not having either the Australian or German sets of competitors run the course because of, as you know, what most people might not know is that they literally wrapped the U.S. show probably 2 or 3 days before the NBA season stopped and everything else. Like it was about the latest you could shoot anything and have it air and have everything done. I mean, they got really, really lucky. I know that some from behind the scenes that I've heard from Australians that were playing that following week that they had bad weather and they didn't get it. They didn't get anything shot. So that's a bummer because oddly enough, talking about the Olympics, the big network in Australia that was going to be running it, their other big show for the summer was the Olympics. So their number 1 and 2 budgeted shows didn't run. So they're actually doing a casting in Australia and building the set there for the Australian version of Holey Moley somewhere in the future. But
awesome.
Anyways, let's line up. Let's go through and line up this episode and start moving things back along. And I guess it's just gonna be the 3 of us unless Erik wants to guess.
I have it up on my laptop. If you saw earlier in the episode where my screen went blank, that was me frantically trying to find the episode.
I love it. That is totally fine by me.
Oh my God.
Marni, do you want to start us off? What was your match of the episode of the night?
My favorite. Like, is this what you just
want to interpret it? Yeah.
Yeah. However, I want to interpret it. All right. Let me look at this list again. I think I think it was Nora and Kasha. I think it was the end. I think they, like, Nora knew he wasn't the better putter. He knew that. He said it. He kept saying that over and over again. Oh, she's going to get whacked. She's got to get whacked. I know she's a good putter. She's going to make this. And I don't know if that was more just his way of dealing with the stress and the uncertainty or whatever, but I just felt like they were both, you know, intense and focused, and I don't know, that one just made me feel like it was good miniature golf, just altogether good miniature golf.
Yeah, I'd second that. I think that was it had some of like the most dramatic like putting moments, and some of the other ones they were just like really uneven. So that was like an easy one for me too. Pat,
I think we talked about it even before the show. That was the one we settled on. It was nice. I mean, it's nice when the final hole has, which I think was the same thing we said about your guys' episode. Like that final hole had the drama. You both had, you know, good runs at those putts and everything, and it had, you know, you kind of want that, right? Like that,
yeah, for sure.
Nice to see.
speaking of good putting, what were your putting highlights? I sort of tipped my hand earlier, but Pat, what putted?
We actually don't agree that much on these categories in our show lately, but yeah, you can't, like that hump shot.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there, like I hadn't even finished analyzing how I would have hit that shot, and she just hit it and sank it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, all right, cool. Moving on. So.
And it did sail a little bit over that second hill. I think that's what surprised me so much about it is like it glided over the first one, but then it took a little air, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not going to go. And it went. And I had that same hole, like I had that experience on Frankenputt where I was on the wrong side of that stupid ridge. And yeah, like I don't know how she got it. I really don't.
Yeah, I thought on Frankenputt, you might actually have had the shot of the season if you'd have just got it to sit there.
Oh, I know, right?
It would have been like the worst. It would have been the worst luck and the most impossible shot to replicate.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
But
I think I would have been right up there with like a Vakadu on that episode. I think those would have been the highlights from that.
Oh yeah, her jumping in. This one I just changed to, instead of funniest moments, it's the ha ha ha. Anything really stand out?
I mean, Steve Gutenberg throwing his shoe.
Yeah,
that was
pretty
good.
Good.
That was a little crazy.
I really liked Noor and Lee, like just jumping in with the can dancers. I thought that was hilarious. That they were even after Lee lost, I thought that was such a great move. That he just jumped
right in.
I'm not gonna just jump away. It's like, yeah, let's get up there and like dance it away. It's like great. That's like the perfect way.
Kind of think that hole went longer than what was filmed, because it was very reminiscent of me by end. Because we had gone a lot, and by the time we were done, we were like so invested in each other and just literally happy that somebody won. That it was just, I mean, it was just like that. And so that type of energy, I don't know. It made me, from having played that, made me feel like that they had more of an opportunity to build that together when they were on the hole. But if not, I mean, they were also both very outgoing, extroverted people that just may naturally have been what they were. But it was just fun. It was very refreshing to see that joy.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
That's perfect.
Erik is my aha ha ha moment.
What's our yikes moment? This is like a moment where I think I said yikes literally when Matthew did Volcano, which still sits as the season. Like, that was a huge advantage for you putting to play against someone who probably had a concussion. I mean,
and a giant mark on his face.
Yeah, I noticed that. Like his face is just like bright red. Oh,
yeah. I felt awful for him.
What was the yikes moment this episode? I don't know if there was many.
I had Renee.
Yeah, I agree.
Not only the just complete debacle of the first planet, but then, like, I mean, she's obviously a very accomplished golfer, and I mean, I guess maybe you're not putting out of the sand too often if you're a regular golfer, but like that sand putt was just so sad.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Who do we want to have a drink with? And this is one Erik can jump in on. You're like, who do you want to like this episode of people that you're familiar with because you hung out with them in a tent? You want to hang out with again, which actually puts you in a tougher position because you just have to pick who you like more from this episode.
In my defense, I read through the itinerary and I thought I was going to be talking about my episode, which I thought was the best matchup in this next part. So it's all coming full circle now. I would probably say, I think Morris was his name. I got a chat with him in the hotel lobby, and he seemed like a pretty cool dude. I think there are a lot of strong personalities. I got to I don't want to say talk with Nor, but listen to Nor talk with other people.
We all listen to Nor talk a lot.
Yeah, I mean he's a personality for sure, but I think I'd get farther in conversation with Morris. So that's who I'd pick.
Marni.
So are we picking just from this episode, or we're picking anybody?
We usually do it with this episode, but I'd say wide open. If there's someone like specifically intriguing that you like want to pick their brain from the season so far.
Well, let's see. Because I had picked mine for the episode, but then I thought, well, maybe it's wide open. Come back to me. Can you come back to me?
Pat.
I was going to go with Nor, and that's probably pretty good because I'm not a very talkative person, like as an introvert, so I will let him do all the talking like that. But I kind of want to pick Lee's brain, too. I got a lot of Brit friends, and I always find that they have some interesting viewpoints on the world. A lot of good mini golfers there, too, so one of those two guys. I certainly wouldn't want to go to have a drink with them together because I absolutely would not get a word in edgewise with the two of them, although it might be fun to watch that happen at a bar when we can like go back to them.
I think I'd be fun to have like a drink over on like Buns and Wieners with both Lawrence and Lee, like just like set up on the top of the hill and hang out, maybe like hang with your feet over like the Buns and Wieners and just like chat. I mean, like they both seem to have like a really good sense of humor with like the dress, and like they both had a really good rapport and seem like pretty fun people. I mean, you have to be to like wear what everybody's wearing. So, but this is an episode I have to say from perspective of watching it, everybody was really. I thought everybody came off really well and were really interesting, and I think that was a little bit different than last week with the Bachelor episode because so much of that's so focused on like, like trying to make it like this dating thing, which is like I think makes people somewhat less interesting because those shows, in my opinion, only just make people seem really like vapid or whatever. But I don't know. This is a good episode for people and personalities. Marni, have you come up with something?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going everybody, I think I'm gonna pick Soman Lee. She was in the finale with Chris, and they actually, Erik, do you remember they either played right before or right after us? I can't remember. Because we were the last two to play for final spot. So everybody was already set. They had all the holes ready for, the finale episode. And we were the last two pairs to play. And I just got to talk to her briefly, but she was one of those people that I felt like there was so much more to her story. And, they just pick these random bits of things out of your 45-minute interview that, don't really say who you are. And I felt like she was just one of those that, she comes across as this really sweet, quiet, whatever, but I'm like, I don't think that's really you. So I would pick her brain a little more, and she's got a great golfing background. So I'd love to hear more of her story.
I've been kind of listening, but also in the back of my head realizing that I chose somebody not from this episode. So it just keeps getting worse and worse. So
I think I chose from his episode to have a great.
But But Erik, then you opened it up for me because then I got to ask, can we just pick somebody from anywhere?
Because we do it every week. Why don't you guys should pick from everybody?
Originally, I was thinking, no, Marni, you can't pick somebody from a different episode. And I was thinking, oh, shoot, it's not this episode.
I love it. I am so the person that would show up to the wrong thing, and with be like, oh, I was supposed to be in a different class. Like, it's totally cool. I'm gonna skip the next one of our lighting up the episode because we kind of already talked about it, and Pat and I have pretty much said we want to play all the holes. And this is one that gets to be a little bit of pressure on Pat because we have an episode winner.
Episode winner, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been doing power rankings of our episode winners, not knowing what the final hole is going to be. So I've been trying to guess if I were, Vegas, putting some odds on there. Now I will say, don't take anything personally how you end up, but you were number one, Erik, for 5 straight weeks. So
wow.
you really set a high bar as everybody else came in. So this is where I break down. So we've had 8 episode winners right now, and I'll quickly go 8 on up. And spend a little bit of time where we land with Nora this week. So I had 8 was Ray from episode 2, and then 7 was Alexandra from episode 7, and May from episode 4, Tanner from episode 5, Chris from episode 3. Erik, you have unfortunately dropped to 3rd place now, our episode 1 winner. But it's neck and neck because I think I actually struggled a lot with this. So number 1 right now I have is Chelsea from episode 6. And I look at it from the combination. We have no idea theoretically what the final hole is. So I've been trying to say, like, what were the holes they played from a challenge perspective and how they took that, and then what their putting was. And Chelsea nailed both of those absolutely out of the park. Had very physical challenges and unbelievable putting. And then I struggled with actually you and Erik, you and Nora, because it's hard to match holes, right? Unless you played the same exact hole. And this was the first episode winner we've had that went through diving range. Nobody else has done that from the 7 episode winners. And it's a kind of a weird hole because the physical challenge almost doesn't really matter because you're just jumping in and kind of at the will. But his putting, although they cut away from it, looked pretty good on that hole. Almost made the ace on distractor, or not the distractor, on double dutch. Hit the first one on distractor maybe, but at least what looked like a really good putt that they filmed. And the physical challenge of the windmill, like I talked about, he handled that pretty well. And then you compare it to your putting was excellent all the way through, but your physical challenges were a little bit different in that it was like the speed with hole 2, or really, I guess, the more psychological ones with Frankenputt and Dragon Breath. So I put Nora a little bit higher, but if it's a more psychological challenge, I'd probably flip-flop it. So it's pretty close there. So,
Is it because I didn't watch the episode?
Yeah, I actually was changing it on the fly.
I was wondering.
Erik's 8 because he just, he didn't play the game. So that's what it is. It'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see when we finally see the final hole. I'm going to take this list and try to rearrange it really quickly before they play, just that when I have an idea of doing it. And of course, I'm not going to unless I guess 1 out of the 12, there's no way I'm going to be right. And if I am, then I'm taking a future as Vegas handicappers for professional mini golf. All right. So that's where we end up this week.
That's where we end up this week. And as usual, we sort of wrap things up with some mini golf world happenings. And actually, I want to start it with Marni because I don't remember if we got dates for the AJ's course. And if you want to give a little bit of a heads up to our audience.
Yes. So that is August 7th through the 9th. And we do have the rain date slated for the following weekend. It's more just if it's a washout, we would do it the next weekend. But yeah, it's our little house in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, but we'll have a couple hundred people in and out of here all weekend long. We've even upped it to the point now where we get a porta potty, we get a hand washing station. It's legit, the whole.
That's big time.
It is. It's really cool. It's cool to see how it's evolved. And then awesome. Aaron tells me that our match is airing July 30th from O Street Mini Golf. So that's one to look out for too.
Nice. Is the porta potty in play?
It's not. But believe me, there are some, we'll just say, inspirations from the Holey Moley set. I did tell a few people, you won't have to sign any medical waivers to play our course, but you might see some things that are reminiscent of what you saw on the show.
Yeah, it's a 50-page document.
That's it?
In triplicate.
Erik, what do you have coming up at Adventure Golf Center?
Actually, yeah, tomorrow, that's another thing that I'm planning for tomorrow. I don't know if other states have like a state games. It's like a state recreational games where they have like big sports, but also like foosball and table tennis. I added miniature golf to that last year. And so tomorrow will be our, what we call the Cornhusker State Games. So that's our, to my knowledge, first miniature golf competition in Nebraska. So we'll be holding that. Got 38 competitors coming out, and should be a good time. And here it's supposed to be 100 degrees, so looking for a good time.
I remember hearing about that last year. We probably posted about it because we just post, everything that we get. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Both of us have like our Google notifications to like mini golf, where we know a stupid amount of like things happen. They're like, why did you know about that thing happening in my library in my small town? It's like, thank Google. And I have a confirmation from Aaron that we're looking for late July for Marni versus Aaron on O Street Mini Golf. It's going to be coming up soon. Something to watch. So you have episodes to watch for both of our competitors on YouTube and on ABC. Pat, what do you have coming up?
So we still got the local Matterhorn League that's going Tuesday night, 6 p.m., 2 rounds, $15 drop in. So that's the course that the Putting Penguin, we pair up with them and do our tournament in the fall in September 19th. So we have a league that kind of runs up to that. Weather's been looking pretty good, so we'll have the third week of that. And then the second week of the International Putt 18 putting mat competition. So for your guys, there's a Putt 18. It's out of Australia. It's a company that's put together a competitive kind of target-based putting mat. So there's one of us who have gotten, I think that we're up to 21 people in the league. So we do this Facebook Live yourself, 4 rounds, 20 minutes. You score it, and we've been playing against people from the UK, all across the US, New Zealand, and Australia. And we're doing our second of 7 bi-weekly leagues. So it's been a great way to do some stuff indoors especially early on in this, when we couldn't actually get to courses. And looking forward to doing it in the winter when we can't get to courses.
And the Australians and New Zealanders are already in the winter, and they're kicking everybody's butts badly. Like their scores are ridiculous. There's like a family that, like the Ansley family in New Zealand, that has like 3 of the top like 6 scores for week 1. They seem to have figured out COVID, and they've seemed to have figured out how to win on this putting mat. So kudos to New Zealand. They've figured some things out there. So it's we're hoping to do another episode of We're Gonna Need a Bigger Windmill with Aaron and Randy, where we've been recapping Hardcore Mini Golf, this web series that's on. I just finished up episode 6. It's pretty ridiculous. They film it down in Austin, Texas. They also got it done just before the pandemic hit. So it's an interesting show to watch. We'll be probably recapping that next week, because there won't be a Holey Moley episode. I guess it's a week from this upcoming Thursday, and it's going to be called Porta Putty. So I don't know who's going to be on that episode. Tried all of the places that are online that you can find out about episodes and that we found out about last year, and try to figure out when our episodes are airing. But in the meantime, you can also go on O Street Mini Golf. They've got some new videos up, and sometime in the future, there will be a number of episodes with us, a couple of putts, because I think played 8 rounds with Rudy and Aaron this week, and we were joined by the Mini Golf US guys that are from Minnesota as well, and my wife. So there will be a lot of those videos coming up for the near future and some fun matches. And then the only other mini golf happening was this week. We put up a new YouTube video of a bunch of aces from one of the courses in town. We made a whole video of 13 hole-in-ones that my wife and I made across this whole course for our 8-year anniversary of a couple of putts. So been doing our website and our building and all that for 8 years now. And we have a new review that might be the quickest review we've ever turned around. We played a course last Friday, and it's up today. It's one of our, we did a number of courses up in northern Minnesota because we can't travel very far. Just the pandemic, so we went up to the Brainerd area and we played a course at an RV park called Wild Wedge. That was super fun. That was very much inspired by a lot of different mini golf courses, and they put a lot of love and care into it. We're going to share out about it tomorrow, but if you go to acoupleofputts.com, you can see our review, and we loved the course a lot. Otherwise, stay tuned. We're going to be doing some more of these shows. We're probably going to be talking about some hardcore mini golf. We'll probably have a little bit of a chat as a group to figure out whether we should wait to do one until the whole series is over, or do one with just 2 episodes to talk about it. But for now, thank you for tuning in, and thank you for Marni and Erik for joining us. This is a ton of fun having you both on together.
Yes, it is. Erik, it is so good to see you too.
Yes, you too, Marni.
And that was the best part actually about asking you both I make the assumption based on the relationships I had with people that I met on Holey Moley and I played against, that it's overwhelmingly positive, and people be like, oh, you don't even want to talk to the person you lost to. But I was really hoping that would be the case with you two. And it was really exciting to see you both independently be like, yes, I'm in, we're in touch with each other. So thank you both for joining us. That's really fun to be able to share your guys' story together. I'm Mr. T, and I'll be signing off, and I'll let Pat wrap it up.
Yeah, that's it. Again, appreciate you guys. It was an absolutely fun episode. Love the energy that you got brought to this. And again, welcome to the Holey Moley alum family. And we look forward to more mini golf with you guys, hopefully in person at some point.
Yes, I would love that.
That'd be awesome. And, that's it. Yeah, that wraps up the official episode 8, which we'll have to figure out how we number these things once Holey Moley's done. Everybody stay safe. Try to get out to your local courses, support them as much as you can, and as well as you feel safe playing out there. That's it for tonight.
See y'all. And broadcast.